95.7 The Game, breaking news.
All right, the breaking news is from Shams, and it is related to one of the Warriors' injuries, and the injury is a torn calf muscle for Gary Payton II. And what that means as far as a timeline is unknown. The quote from Shams is sidelined indefinitely. Don't know yet if that's for the full season. No doubt when we get to the next commercial break, we'll fire off a text message to Doc Pandia, get his thoughts on that. But the bottom line is GP2 is going to be out for a while.
Yeah, torn calf, and that was, one of my fears, having seen it, although, as I mentioned to you about half an hour ago, it didn't look like it was the calf near the Achilles, but you could see immediately when GP2 comes out of that break, when he's made a cut, and he immediately grabbed. It didn't look like he was grabbing the back of his knee, which made sense because his knee didn't buckle in any real movement or motion, but he grabbed the calf and he couldn't put any pressure on it. And the fact that it is a torn calf muscle, it almost doesn't matter if it's by the Achilles or by the knee, in my opinion. That's a bad one. It's a torn calf has got to be 6 to 8 weeks, and we'll reach out to the doc. And,
I feel like that's low.
Yeah, it could be more.
I feel like that's
12.
low. I mean, the only reason they're not saying season is because it's not even December yet. You say 6 to 8, that's December and January. I don't feel, look, I'm no doctor, but that doesn't feel like 2 months to me. That feels like, they're holding out that he could be back for April. He could be back for the playoffs if they make it.
Yeah, geez.
But okay, here, Doc Pandia, I said season over. He said not at all. Okay, hang on. Let me text right here on the air. Timeline? Just
Dibs says 6 to 8.
A guess.
Is he a radio doctor?
Just a guess. Look, he's texting right now.
Yeah.
So yeah, I know nothing about this, but a torn muscle feels like more than 2 months to me. Usually.
But I do
especially
think,
lower body for.
But
a
I do
basketball
think
player.
that the fact that it is this portion of the calf, it's not the Achilles part. So I think that that's going to be a better torn calf in terms of his return to play.
Okay, he says worst case 3 months, so that would be February also.
Okay.
But that's also worst case.
Worst case.
So maybe if it goes
8 to
well,
12 is what we're talking.
If it goes well, February 1st. If it doesn't go well, March 1st. But not the end of the season. But a healthy chunk of time. This is a healthy chunk of time.
I said 6 to 8.
This is not good.
And if he says worst case is 3 months, that's 12 weeks. So you're looking at probably 8 to 12 weeks. Like you said, Mark, if it's 2 months, you're dealing with Feb 1 would be the return.
Okay, now he
Bonus Pandia?
He added another text, which actually goes not just in your direction, but even further in the other direction. He said, my guess, 4 to 6.
Okay.
So, but he also said worst case 3. So this could be 1 month. It could be 3 months.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And he's obviously not looking at the MRI. And until we know what grade it is, grade 1, grade 2, grade 3, then we can't fully know just how badly torn it is. But what I'm hearing Doc say is there's a place for me in the medical industry, Mark.
Well, we already knew that.
Yeah, so.
You have a Lifetime Achievement Award at most hospitals in the Bay Area.
Yeah, I've got so many injuries. I actually, I hurt my ribs at the zoo the other day. I'll show you the bruise during the break. It's a bad one, Mark.
Flak jacket?
I thought it was broken. And my wife, the lovely supper, looked at me and she said, wait, you're telling me you broke your rib while looking at the tigers at the zoo?
You skipped knockout and got hurt at the zoo.
Dude, I was watching the tigers and I turned to leave the exhibit and I smashed into one of those laminated placards and I screamed out, "Ow!" Like Howard Dean at a rally.
Ow!
And like 12 people swiveled around and looked at me. My wife was so embarrassed.
It really bit me.
It really hurt. I'll show you. I'll put the bruise up on YouTube.
I have no doubt that you will disrobe at the
that's it.
moment's notice. All right, let's get back to the phones.
Dan Ribley.
I hate
that's
this.
A 4.
This is so. What? Listen, I don't want to guess any further than this, but I guess based on the little that we know, at minimum, we can expect that Gary will miss December.
Oh, for sure.
Gary's going to miss. So we'll leave it at that and go from there.
And we'll ask Steve today at 5 o'clock, the top of the next hour, to get a little bit more specific. And I'm sure he'll, refer us to the medical. And, we haven't yet gotten the Chris Paul.
We'll ask that too, obviously.
News in terms of, hopefully his was just because they reported it as leg soreness. Hopefully that's all it is. Well, he's just an old guy, and believe me, I know about leg soreness.
Like Chris Paul.
Ow!
He looked good in slides, didn't he?
He did.
I'm like, you know what, dude? Yeah, you're probably ready to retire. You look really good in slides. All right, let's go to Scott in Oakland. Hey, Scott, you're on with Willie and Dibby. What are you doing?
Hey, I'm actually driving into the city right now
all right.
for a rehearsal for a Christmas concert.
Nice, Scott. That's cool.
Scott, you're a tenor, right? You're not a baritone. You're a tenor.
I'm a cellist, actually.
Oh, look at you.
Yeah.
All right.
But the reason that you guys were talking about Moses Moody before, and why they took him out, and also the guy who called before and said that Steve Kerr's not a great coach. One thing I've noticed is that Steve Kerr, I think he's a great coach, and he doesn't let these players reach an efficiency like Moses Moody and to some extent, Kuminga as they're developing. And I think it's a really good move to pull him out. He's at maximum efficiency. It's like he's doing Moody a service. Moody, of course, would say let me keep playing, but Moody looks really good. And when you pull him out and go to Klay, it's like, of course you're going to do that. And Moody's numbers and efficiency are really great. So that's what I think.
Yeah, Scott, thanks.
Thanks, Scott.
Listen.
It's always an interesting one about efficiency.
Well, you never know what's going to happen next.
Right. He might have hit 2 more threes, or he might have missed his next 2 threes.
Might have airballed the rest of the quarter. I have no idea. But I don't know, man. What feels weird when we look at all this is sort of the idea of what you've earned. And I do think that in every workplace, we all think about that. What's been earned? I've been here a while. I deserve the promotion. That, right? The company, don't they respect me? And sometimes the other day at the podium, that's kind of what Klay sounded like to me. Like, well, you going to bench me? Like, I think I've earned the patience. So thanks, Steve.
Right.
Right. So, okay, Klay thinks he's earned the benefit of the doubt and the extra time. He's not wrong. But what happens when we do the microcosm version of that? Didn't Moses earn more time? Did he earn staying on the floor based on that performance? I don't know. And obviously, you can't satisfy everyone. We asked him the Moses Moody question 2 weeks ago to the day, and he cited math. He's like, I can't just put him out there because someone else is going to have to sit.
We're a deep team. We got 12 guys who we can play and all the rest of it.
So to me, my answer would be, you're right with what you said 2 weeks ago, Steve. This should have been the exception. I don't know, man. People don't visit the zone very often, especially small role players. And when they do, you ride that thing. Who's my man with the Lakers who scored a truckload of points in the playoffs against the Warriors? Lonnie Walker. Lonnie Walker.
The fourth.
Thank you. In the playoffs last year.
Unguardable.
Stick with him. Dude visited the zone. You didn't think he would, but he did.
Right.
You stuck with him, and he won you a basketball game. I think there's something to that. You look at people in life, and when they're in the zone, let them go. Let them go.
It is tough, though, and Scott, the cellist who just called us, makes a good point about, maximizing a player's impact. And if Steve sees what he saw from Moody, and he had 11 points in the fourth quarter, and you feel like, okay, he's bound to have a regression here in the next couple of possessions or the next couple of minutes, and you go to your more tried and true veteran, and that veteran doesn't do the job that Moses was doing, then maybe you get burned by the move. But you're so prone to roll and ride with your guys that's kind of what you've been doing for all these years, and it's worked.
Yeah, exactly right. 888-957-9570. How about Mike in San Jose? Hi, Mike. What are you doing?
Right now, I'm just sitting in some traffic. definitely understanding that, this isn't the young Warriors that we're used to seeing before. I mean, you could see that everybody's gotten a little bit older on the team. I mean, obviously they wanted to go with some youth to prevent this kind of situation from happening. But I always tell my daughter, who I always teach her lessons through sports, I tell her, sports athletes, people who are athletic, they usually die twice in life. They die once out on the court, on the field, and then they die in real life in reality. I think Klay Thompson, I think we might be witnessing his death, unfortunately. I hate to say that because I'm a ride or die Warriors fan. I was a fan before they got good. I've been watching them my whole life. So I'm really sad to see the way that Klay has regressed. But I have a torn Achilles right now. This happened to me playing softball recreationally, and I played sports my whole life. So to go back out there after not playing anything, for about 8-9 years, I'm about to be 40. I popped my Achilles 3 weeks ago. I didn't want to believe it. Now I'm in the stage where I have to accept that I will never be 100% ever in my life, and I'm a normal Joe. So I can only imagine what Klay Thompson, as a professional athlete at his peak, is going through, hearing these things and knowing that he cannot get better.
Mike, we got to run. I have no doubt that it's tough. By the same token, I reject the idea that we're there yet, right? He's basically saying Klay is done. Klay's last 5 games, his point total goes 16, 20, 23, 15, 20. What's odd is this conversation's happening now when he's actually on the best run of the season.
Right.
3, 5, 6, 3, and 3. Those are his three-pointers made in the last 5 games.
But you look at his overall numbers.
Not perfect percentages.
They're down. I mean, his percentages are bad. He's shooting 40% from the floor for the year. So that's where, and I don't think that a death necessarily happens overnight at this level.
No, I agree there too.